All right, everybody, welcome to Monday morning. Hey, happy Halloween. Wow. This call will be so good, it's scary. Ooh, that was terrible, I know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are very fortunate today to have from Prosperity Mortgage, okay, Karen Sjodin. So, Karen, if you could unmutify by hitting *6, that would be great.
Okay, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, loud and clear. Whatever you're doing, keep doing that because you sound great. So
Good.
Karen, welcome to the Monday podcast. If you could just start out by telling everybody a little about yourself, how long you've been doing this, all that kind of stuff. I think that'd be your market, so they know. All that stuff would be awesome.
Okay, I've been in mortgage in Las Vegas for March will be 27 years, going strong
Nice.
and not sick of it yet.
Good. Yeah, and which office do you primarily hang out at?
I am usually in the Southwest office. You can find me there or at St. Rose.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. And so what do you think about our latest, let's pick, even in real estate, it's been a big change since January, but it's been a really big change in the mortgage industry in the last year, hasn't it?
It absolutely has, but I've seen this a couple of times now, not what we're going through today, but it just means that it's time to put your nose to the grindstone and dig for absolutely every buyer that you can help get into a home today. Just means you got to work a little harder.
Yeah, and lock every buyer you're working with, right?
From the very, yes. Oh, absolutely. And the other thing is that we're really pushing seller concessions, because the best way to help your client get into a home with the payment that they're looking for is for your seller to contribute to buy down the rate versus to reduce the price of the home. It gets you there much quicker with a lot less money.
Right.
So we're finding creative ways to make people happy, and people are still buying. That's not going to stop you. They have to still have a place to live. Everybody needs to have a home, whether they rent or own. I mean, if you rent, you're paying 100% interest rate.
That's true.
So why not, 7s is still a good rate.
Yeah, like I see people, friends of mine, or talk to people at the gym, and they say to me, because they know I'm in real estate, they say, yeah, well, I was going to buy a year and a half ago, but I'm going to wait now. The rates. I go, so you're going to continue to penalize yourself? Yeah, you should have bought a year and a half ago. Absolutely. But the second best time, because it's now, because there's never a time that renting is better, ever.
Never. And my advice to all of my clients that ask me, should they wait? I'm like, well, if you wait, yes, prices may drop just a little bit, but rates may go up as well. So what are you really saving? I feel like it's the weighted scale, that it doesn't matter what you do, that you're going to teeter one way or the other. So today is, the time to buy is now. The it's inventory is there.
Yeah.
The motivation is there.
Yep.
Sellers aren't saying no.
Right. Well, yeah, and the motivated sellers are going to sell. And, as a buyer right now, you have an even better situation, because a year ago, you'd be one of 14 offers. You'd have to pay over asking. You wouldn't have an inspection or an appraisal. Right now, you can get all those things done. You can get the seller to crank out the list on the, on the home inspection. You can get them to buy down your rate, right? And then I also believe that because of the interest rates, a lot of people are on the sidelines, and all it's going to do is create a warehouse of buyers. And then as soon as this, and it's going to happen, okay, I have a theory about the elections, but I don't want to get political. But so as soon as that happens and we move on from there, I think you're going to see some rate adjustments and so forth, because right now the Fed is willing to sacrifice everything just to get the inflation numbers down, because that's all the press talks about, right? So they're willing to, doesn't matter, we're going to keep raising the rates, right? Hey, don't forget we put $3 trillion into the economy in the last 2 years, which is about 20% of the money in circulation. Don't forget that, right? So that's got to bleed through, and once it does, it'll affect. But anyway, the point is that they're eventually going to lower rates, and then all these people on the sidelines are going to jump in. So really, as a buyer right now, you have a tremendous opportunity to get the house you want, and even if you can't buy down the rate to something that's to your liking, you can wait 12 months, 18, refinance, maybe 24 and refinance, but you'll get the house you want. So it's all perspective. If you have somebody serious, you can definitely help them right now.
I know that some are probably tired of hearing it, but marry the house, date the rate. And it's a fact because you're going to be able to purchase the home that you want and that you've, looked so hard for back in, beginning of the year, January to March. And now you're going to get it. And you're not only going to get it, but you're going to get it with the seller giving you contributions to help you to afford that home.
Yeah.
So it's a great time for buyers to buy. I've got 2 sets of buyers that just jumped back in after getting out of the market when they were looking in March. Last week, both of them reached out again, and they're ready to go, and both are qualified, and both of them are hopeful that they're going to get the home that they want and to be able to get everything paid for by that seller. So,
okay, cool.
That's the way we're going with that.
Yeah, I would.
Better opportunity.
Better opportunity, and people don't realize that the pace of I was going to say the pace of play. That's golf. The pace of the market right now is about 75% to maybe 78%-ish of what it was, last year. So, I mean, there's still a majority of transactions happening. It's just, you have to be a little bit more educated, educate them to keep it rolling, because right now you have to give them all the information that's available to you to have them make a good decision for them. And if they can go now, great. And if they can't go now, well, okay, you can always, put them in your sphere. We have a VAC 2.0, follow up with them, blah, blah, blah. You're always going to have people that are willing to go now and people that are in the near future. All right. So it doesn't really change much. It's just what you're saying. But like you said, if I have a buyer that wants to buy, I know I can take them out and find them something now and look like a rock star, because I can get the seller to fix almost everything on the home inspection, and I get the seller to contribute to the buy down of the rate.
Yes, and they're definitely motivated to do that. I haven't seen one come back yet that said no.
As far as which
now
part,
it's educated for both rate and fixing home inspection items. Yeah. I have a veteran, a disabled veteran, that's actually closing today that didn't think he was going to be able to buy, and he got into that home with getting every nickel of his $1,500 earnest money back, as well as there was some staining on the roof that the seller refused to repair. Came back on the appraisal, just a picture of it, and our appraisal underwriter said, oh, no, we need to get to the bottom of that. So guess what? They got the roof fixed. They got all of their costs paid for. They got their interest rate bought down to the mid-5s. And I have a very happy homeowner that served our country.
Yeah,
and that did right for us.
Yeah. Yep, that's a great way to look at it. And their rates are a little bit better if they're veterans, and so it's still a great time. And I know people hate me when you said date, marry the home, date the rate. I know when I started in the business, okay, my first house I bought, I was at like 12% interest. My second one, I got a 9.999999 1-year adjustable. Okay. So when people say to me, the whole idea, and just people have been spoiled. I knew this was coming, by the way. I don't know about you, but I've been doing this 38 years. And I knew as soon as the rates were at 2.9 or 3, I'm like, this is not going to be free good. But it was really good for a time. And all you people that are like,
well, I should have done. But you can't expect it to stay that low.
Exactly. I mean, they're free. They're free at that point. Even today, let's just use 7. Even today, it's 7. You're still making about 40% of your payment towards principal when you start making it. When it gets over 10, it's like 25, 30%. Right now, it's still a great rate. And if you buy it down. So let me ask you, I always poll people on this, mortgage people like yourself. Which do you prefer, the 2-to-1 buy down or the just outright buy down?
Well, I think that both are great programs, and it just depends on the need of your buyer. So the permanent buy down is going to help your buyer qualify for more. The 2-1 buy down, in my opinion, is going to help your buyer get ready for that larger payment slowly, which may even allow for a refinance before that third-year payment actually ever kicks in.
Right.
But you can't guarantee that. The market is the market. And for those of us that lived through the '08, till it took me till 2012. But through that period of time, that you can't say, well, you'll just refinance, because it's not a guarantee. Not a guarantee. But rates will fall again. And the prediction is that we're less than a year out. So the 2-1 buy down, I think, for those that are very well qualified, is a way for them to ease into that payment.
Right. I like it.
And possibly get out of it before it ever hits.
I guess it depends on, what type of buyer you have. Brand new, just getting in. Actually, they could work either way. They really could. I think it's your person. Do you want to roll the dice a slight bit? Or, I can see 4s and 5s coming back. I don't know about 2s and 3s, but 4s and 5s I can see coming. Yeah. I just can't imagine. That could have been a once in a lifetime situation. Just like if you go back 6 months from today and then go back those 18 months before that, that was the best 18 months in the history of real estate. We may never see that again. It was. Very positive, very possible. So people who've only been in the business 2 years, you've been working in fantasy, and now it's reality. It's really what it is.
I have found myself having to educate some of the agents that have only been in 2 to 3 years in the fact that it is okay to ask for your buyer, for the seller to contribute. I found that there's a little bit of reluctancy on the part of agents of, I can't ask for that kind of money. Yes, you can. We're in those times now.
I'm used to paying over asking. That's what I'm programmed for. Right?
Yeah.
I hear you. But now everything has changed, and the sellers take a little while. So I think so look, I don't want to even predict rates myself personally, because I have no faith in the current guy running the Fed, because I just don't think all he cares about is the inflation numbers at the expense of real estate, the economy, jobs, all that stuff. That's all he cares about. And he said it. I'm not making it up. That's what he said. So if he continues to do that and he's not replaced, you're going to see these rates for a little while. So it could affect the market.
Agreed.
It could, but like I said, we're still moving at 75%. So we'll have to wait for the elections in 2 years. And, we have the midterms coming up and then the elections, because I don't understand personally why the Fed can't see all the money into the economy is a big part of inflation, not raising the rate to paralyze the economy. Could you imagine if you owned a business and you did that? Well, I'm selling too much product, so I'm going to raise the prices out of range so I don't sell as much. It makes no sense from a business standpoint, but when you're a government that can print money, now it makes sense. I don't get it, right? So we'll see. We'll see how they're going to do it. I guess I'm too black and white to be a politician. That's probably why I'm never going to be one. But it's too obvious as to what's going on. But so if they keep doing what they're doing, it's going to be a while. So the question you have to ask yourself, what are you going to do business, right? What are you going to do? And I think you said it best, Karen. You're going to educate people.
Yes, so just keep doing what I've done for the last 27 years and work a little bit harder at it. You just have to go from, business coming to you. And I hate to say it like that, because we did. I think that we all got set on our ways and rested on our laurels. And now it's back to the grind, and you have to really make those phone calls and nurture those relationships and get yourself in a position where you can still do business.
You mean like talk to people and work your farm and maybe call a couple expired listings and be proactive?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Call it digging for worms. You got to dig for worms.
You're speaking my language. Yeah, and you were very kind. I would call it they've been spoiled by the last 2 years and developed bad habits that they need to redo. Right?
Yes, and back to the basics. Like I'm doing open houses again. I never thought that I would go backwards as far as things like that, but that's just where we're at today. You've got to support your partners in business and do what you can do for each other in order to, make those good bonds and relationships.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. All right. So you
And if
tell
that
me,
means,
all right, so with your experience and so forth in this business and so forth, tell them like, tell them a little about like your pre-approval. Why would I want to go through underwriting and get all that done, which I agree with, as opposed to just getting a pre-commitment letter? Why is that advantageous from an offer standpoint?
because it makes your offer the strength of a cash offer, as well as you've got the ability at that point then to lock in your interest rate and know what you're going to have as far as the payment goes once you find the perfect home. And that perfect home is going to come a lot quicker because that seller is being told that all I need from you is an appraisal and title and I'm ready to go. And I can close it very quickly. So it puts you in a position the same as a cash offer. And I know that we're not, beating down each other's doors to get offers accepted today. However, it still gives your seller that confidence that, yes, we're going to accept your offer, and yes, we're going to buy the rate down for you. We're going to give you 2 points for that, and we'll pay your closing costs because you know what? You're going to close very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell and I always reach out to a listing agent as well once I know that an offer has been submitted, and I kind of tell them a little bit about the process and my buyer and what we've gone through for them in order to get them to the point that they're at, to where we're only going to need a couple of weeks to get the loan closed.
So you'll actually help the agent by calling the listing agent. That's great. I love that. That's great. John does that too, which I think is great. You have to know what you're talking about to do that, which is great. And obviously you do. So that's very helpful. And then you guys have all kinds of, you have some guarantees too, don't you?
Oh, yeah, the meter beat. And as a matter of fact, that's kind of been my target the last couple of weeks, is that as I get notifications that new sales have happened, I'm reaching out to the agents and letting them know, hey, we had a really good rate week last week because we did. So if your clients locked any sooner than last week, it might be beneficial for them to do our meter beat. And the worst thing that can happen is that we give them $2,000.
Right.
I mean, how bad is that?
That doesn't suck.
I mean, we either give you a better rate, a better deal, we're going to close your loan quicker, and you're going to have a better experience, or if we're not in a position to where we can match or beat what you have in place already, we're going to give you $2,000 because we couldn't. And we're not into writing checks. So I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to meet or beat it.
Yeah. No, that's great. And you guys are doing a tremendous job, working at helping all the agents in the offices, and it's great. I feel the urgency, which is good. You got to have urgency. I don't want to use the word obsession, but that doesn't hurt either. Like, Elon Musk, people buying Twitter and freaking people out. I just love the man. He's such an innovator and so forth. But that urgency, which is not, some people take it, like, well, I'm prospecting, I seem desperate. No, you seem urgent, and urgent is good. Motivated sellers want people that act, walk, and talk with a little urgency in their gait, in their vocabulary, and so forth. Because when you don't have to sell, you don't care about that. When you sell, it's a whole different ballgame, right? So working with that type of urgency, I think, is critical, and I know you guys have it, which is great.
Yes, I agree.
All right, cool. All right, so anything else that, maybe even some of the newer agents should be thinking about in this type of market and working with you guys?
Only to just don't pass us up. Give us the opportunity to show you that we can shine. That's the only thing. I've been with Prosperity now the full year that we've been in the market here, and I just want everybody to know that we're here to support you, and don't pass up the opportunity just because it's like, oh, it's just another in-house lender. We are your in-house lender. We are your partners. We are here to help you sell homes and to help you close loans.
I love it. Yeah, and it's like they're both of us, Prosperity and Berkshire Hathaway, are owned by Uncle Warren. I call him Uncle Warren, even though I've never met him. I still call him Uncle Warren. And those are dynamite companies, right?
Yes.
I mean, they're dynamite companies.
Yes.
And I also think, okay, this is just my opinion, that some of these real estate companies, no names mentioned, and mortgage companies, Warren Buffett has a saying, as who's skinny dipping when the tide goes out. And I think you're going to see some of that. And the great thing about Prosperity and Berkshire Hathaway is that we are two really solid, rock solid companies. And I think you're going to see some shakeups. And I think some of it's already happened with some of these other companies that really designed their companies around the last 2 years. And what I mean by expenses and so forth. And they're going to have a hard time coming up if this market continues. And I don't see why it wouldn't continue at least for another year or so until the rate starts to change. But some people are saying the rates are going to change. Folks, we have to get this. It doesn't matter if the rates change or not. People are going to adjust to the new rates. It's just that simple. It's happened all the time. Right now, it's still kind of new, all right, and they're fluctuating. And I guess they came down on Friday. Forget about that. Just get out there, talk to people, fill your pipeline, get your people qualified. I would get mine Plus, as a buyer, as an agent working with a buyer today, you have to know they're pre-qualified. Your fiduciary responsibility to MLS as a realtor is to know that your people to qualify any home you're taking them into. So to me, that's the angle I would take because it's the truth, number one. And number two, it satisfies the buyer. And then every buyer should sign a buyer broker agreement with you. That's just my opinion. It's always been, since I've been around, since before buyer agency existed, right? And now that you can get them you can represent them and have them sign a contract, I think is critical myself. So
I think that's
all right,
a great
cool.
idea.
Now, yeah, well, I mean, that's why it's there because NAR figured out, well, people will be getting sued. Back before buyer agency, both agents, nobody represented the buyer. Both agents represented the seller. That's why when you take your exam, it says caveat emptor. That's one of the questions on the test, which means buyer beware. So before buyer agency, that was the buyer program. Buyer beware. Get your own lawyer. Have your own home inspect. Right now, you can have an agent represent you, which is totally different, and it's a zero-cost contract. Really, the way I used to do it, you get paid out of closing. Right? So I think representing to the buyer what that means really solidifies them using you and really shows your integrity, professionalism. But anyway, that's my own thing. A lot of people do very well without getting it signed. I would not work with somebody without, because now you're a customer, total different relationship. All right, Karen,
the
any
commitment
final
for
wonderful?
sure.
Yeah. All right, any final words of wisdom you want to leave these lovely people today?
Stay passionate, dedicated, empathetic, and don't take no for an answer.
I love it. All right, Karen. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate you taking your time out today. Okay, everybody.
Why, thank you.
Karen is at the Southwest office, and everybody. I think a lot of people know that already. I mean, I knew that. And keep it rolling, and we will pick it up in 1 week, everybody. And if you need me, call me anytime. Karen, thanks again for your time today. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Thank you. Okay, bye.
Have a good day.